Hollywood may never see another Keanu Reeves. He is the rarest legend and a gem.
Neo wasn't the only one who changed reality in The Matrix, and John Wick's revenge became a story.
Keanu Reeves is the real heart of Hollywood.
His body, spirit, and kindness have touched the lives of millions of people. There is a lot of pride and deception in the movie business, but Keanu stands out.
The most honest and nice man in Hollywood.
A gem whose kindness has touched strangers and whose honor has kept even the harshest critics quiet.
He is live proof that there is still good in the world.
We all wish there were more guys like him, though. But behind the fame and the smile that has made so many people feel better are wounds that will never heal, nights that are too dark and painful, and battles he is still fighting at age 61. Do not turn away, because what he is going through now could be the most important part of his life.
Don't just watch this if you think Keanu Reeves is a great actor. Share your thoughts about him in the comments and help us remember him. I want to give an artful salute to Hollywood's greatest gem. A lack of fame, not fame, shaped Keanu Reeves' life.
His music father was last seen but never seen again. His mom's marriages broke up like glass. Music, each broken bond hurt more, showing him that love is weak and short-lived, and that it can end in an instant, leaving nothing but a void.
Keanu was born on September 2, 1964, in Beirut, Lebanon.
His name, Keanu, comes from the Hawaiian language and means cool breeze over the mountains. It made him think of peace, which was very different from the storm that was about to happen. By the time he was born, his parents' marriage was already in shambles. Keanu's father had been gone since he was 2 years old, and he was last seen by him when he was 13. The last time they saw each other, they said goodbye in silence.
It will always be etched in his heart. Even though his mother was struggling to stay
alive, the loss of his father would haunt him. Going from one place to the next, music, New York, Toronto, Beirut, and Sydney. Every new place I went to only brought chaos and short-term safety. For every broken marriage, there were stepfathers who never stayed long enough to become family.
Keanu's mother's search for security made the world a chaotic place all the time.
She broke agreements and failed at love in every new relationship, and Keanu learned to deal with them. Keanu was always going through changes because each stepfather was only there for a short time and never stayed long enough to build strong family ties. But in the middle of all the chaos, his younger sister Kim became the only thing that held his life together.
She was everything Keanu thought a family could be.
She was a promise that love could last through all of life's storms.
But Keanu's childhood was marked by suitcases that weren't fully packed, walls that he didn't know, and birthdays celebrated in places he didn't know.
It was never safe to be at home. It was only a short break before the next wave of worry hit.
School wasn't a safe place either.
For 5 years, Keanu went to 4 different high schools and had a hard time making friends at all of them.
Because he had dyslexia, reading was hard for him.
The words on the page would not stay still, and every school day was a fight he fought alone. Teachers thought that his constant questioning was an act of defiance, and one director kicked him out of school for it.
I always wanted to know the answers to the questions I asked. Later, Keanu thought, I couldn't help it.
No matter how many times I got in trouble, Keanu wasn't rebellious. He was just a boy trying to make sense of a world that was shifting
under his feet all the time.
His only refuge was on the ice rink, where he became known as the Wall, a strong goalkeeper who could block out the chaos of the world with a simple, silent focus. On the ice, he wasn't the broken child he felt inside.
He was strong, invincible. Keanu dreamed of a future in the Ontario Hockey League and even imagined representing Canada at the Olympics.
Music, it was the one thing he could claim as his own.
The one certainty in a life that had never given him anything to hold on to.
But at just 15, the cruel twist of fate struck. A devastating injury destroyed his dream, shattering the one stable thing in his life. That injury, which took away his future in hockey, also imparted a brutal lesson that security is fleeting.
That everything you hold dear can disappear in an instant. By the time Keanu reached adulthood, he had endured losses that would shatter most.
The loss of his father, the instability of his mother's marriages, the sting of rejection at school, the emotional distance between siblings, and the heartbreak of watching his greatest dream slip away on the ice.
Yet, none of these events hardened him. Instead, they forged him. The absence of his father gave him empathy for the abandoned. The carousel of stepfathers taught him that trust must be earned. Dyslexia taught him patience both with himself and with the world. He had to quit hockey because of an injury, which set him on a new road that would take him to Hollywood and into the hearts of millions of people. Grief takes many forms, but it never goes away. Keanu once said, "Music changes over time, but the pain stays." These words, simple but profound, hold the truth of a boy who had already tasted the bitterness of loss long before the bright lights of Hollywood shone on him. His childhood wasn't simply the prelude to greatness. It was the forge where pain and resilience collided. Where a quiet strength, humility, and compassion were molded. Music, a strength that would eventually make the world not just admire but deeply love Keanu Reeves. At 15, a dream that Keanu Reeves had fought to build on the hockey rink was violently torn away in an instant. Music, the echo of the crowd's cheers, the rush of the game, it all collapsed, music, leaving a haunting silence that seemed to consume everything around him. It was a loss so deep it threatened to swallow him whole. But instead of surrendering to that abyss, music, Keanu found something that would change the course of his life. A stage, a new place to pour his broken heart, where stories whispered to him, offering solace. A boy who had already seen so much loss started to understand that these stories, music, this new world, could be his refuge, a sanctuary where he could transform his pain into something greater than himself. Little did he know this new dream would demand not just his talent, but the same raw hunger and endurance that had carried him through his darkest hours. By the time he walked away from school, labeled a misfit, Keanu had made his choice. Performance would be his salvation. Dyslexia turned every script into a war zone. Each word a battle to be understood. But on set, the camera demanded no speed, only truth. Armed with a battered Volvo, a suitcase, and a name no one could pronounce, he drove into Los Angeles. Fragile hope. Every dollar stretched to its limit. Keanu scraped by, taking any job he could find. A small Canadian TV role, a Coca-Cola commercial where he drank soda with desperation written all over his face, trying to prove to the world and to himself that he belonged. Even in his first children's program, his awkward charm began to shine, winning over young viewers who didn't care about his imperfections. These were not glamorous beginnings. Music, they were survival. Survival had already become his second skin. In Los Angeles, Keanu rented bare apartments and lived on the edge. Every dollar was a lifeline, and he knocked on doors that rarely opened. Casting agents were interested in him. Was he a star or just another lost soul wandering the streets of Hollywood? The city that ate dreams and spat them out had done that to thousands of people before him, and Keanu stood at its gates with nothing but his willpower to break them down. Then something changed. In the dark indie film River's Edge, Keanu's performance showed a depth of soul and a wrestling with shadows far darker than anyone had expected. At first, critics weren't sure, but they started to murmur that his performances had a weight that was too real to be fake. And they were right. Music, the grief he portrayed on screen wasn't just a character, it was the grief of a boy who had lost everything but kept fighting. It was at this fragile moment that he met River Phoenix, who was a brother.